All the decisions that we make affect the team in one way or another, negatively or positively.
All right, last one here, guys. Last one. 12.
Every draft pick that we make, every player that we acquire can have a big effect on the outcome of a game, of a season. Great players always are the number one reason for the success of a team. The scouts are sometimes the forgotten ones, underappreciated, under the radar. They are the ones helping me more than anybody else.
All right, we got everybody? Welcome back.
Everybody knows the coaches, everybody knows the players, everybody knows Jason Licht. Nobody really knows who the scouts are.
This week will be similar to what it is every year. Talk about players here, do any updates character-wise, make sure we stack them in the right spot, and move on from there.
We work kind of in the shadows, and I think we would all tell you that we prefer it that way. We are not people that like to be out in front of the cameras or need the spotlight or anything like that. I would do this for way less money than they pay me to do it.
He's under pressure, and he goes down.
This whole league doesn't work without players, and the better players you have, the better team you're going to be. It's just a fact. I want the people that start the process for bringing the players into this building to be a little bit more appreciated.
Your draft last year was unbelievable, set the tone. These guys are going to be unbelievable leaders.
And he's set by Diaby. One of the several rookies who's starting to make an impact on this Tampa Bay defense.
You probably already heard the stories, some of them, how they kind of were already looking sideways at some of the older guys that weren't doing the right thing, and they already know. We can do that again.
The best thing about Jason is that he wants us to have it right by the time the draft rolls around. You're allowed to speak your mind, you're allowed to have an opinion.
This is the guy that gives defenses problems, to have to cover all three.
It has to be a competition for him. Make it a competition, then he'll be fine.
I don't think he's real tough. I don't see a real confident guy. I think if he woke up tomorrow, he's 5'10" when he's brushed his teeth, he'd be like, oh, thank God.
You guys want this guy in our building?
No, sir.
At some point, you love the grind and you love the hard part.
When it comes to this process, you kind of have to split hairs and you have to be nitpicky.
The feel, about just the instincts, about being able to understand the mindset of those guys in real time.
You take a lot of pride in that because you're out there by yourself and you know you're doing your best you can for the Bucs that day, and you're going to kick ass out there no matter what.
Wrapped up and taken down from behind.
We talk about eyeing that man with players. Well, we want the right kind of guys, that are scouting too.
When you can lean back on the talent and the character, we're going to come out the other side.
Big fella, running through tackles.
Whatever you need, I got you.
They all know what's expected, where they fit in, what their job is. It certainly is complex.
The scouts, they're the ones that know. They are the lifeblood of the organization. I mean, our Super Bowl year showed us one thing, though, that all the depth that we had got us through that year, so we just need to keep drafting like we did, like you guys did, and we'll be all right. The right kind of guys, I guess, was my point when I was moving, because I was remembering the boat parade.
Recap of our roster in the season. You guys want to start somewhere? Do you want to go through like every player, free agents? Want to go position like we usually go through?
Sure, yeah. Go through it all.
Well, we felt after we got our guys back in free agency, as Jason said, we'd throw a boat parade if we got our guys back, and you try to build the draft board as objectively as you can, and you can't just inflate guys' values because you need a position. All right, so we'll start with the quarterback. The plan is to bring him back. He wants to come back. We want him here. It's just going to be the deal that we can make. Rashad, I thought he hit it better late in the season. I mean, I think the cool thing about him is that he carried the load for an entire year and was healthy, and played good down the stretch. Okay, receivers, we're doing whatever we can to bring Mike back. And then Chris, he's the guy, and the quarterback knows that, like, I can be really confident he's going to be where he's supposed to be. He's going to touch it. So,
What do you feel like our two top needs were that we wanted to address?
Yeah, I would say interior offensive line and pass rusher were probably the two biggest needs. The quarterback's the most important position, bar none. I mean, that's where it starts. But you have to be able to protect the quarterback, and then you also have to be able to affect the quarterback on defense. So those two positions are always high priority, and I would say that this year that was true with us for sure. Let's do Barton, and then we'll kind of stack those guys a little bit. Duke.
Yeah, really strong makeup, would fit in really well. Has a little aw shucks to him, but wants to be coached hard, plays really hard. I remember a coach at Duke telling me a story about when he recruited Graham and going into his home. The family had a bunch of recordings of just college football games because when Graham was a young kid, he just wanted to watch football, and so they would tape the games, and he would watch them over and over again. Good with his hands, latching onto blocks, and just being able to adjust and sustain, and love the consistency and just being effective over and over and over again is what I saw. So I think he's a solid starter in the NFL.
Yeah, for Graham, his position coach is a friend of mine, a guy I used to be on staff with, and he raved about him. This is a mature, committed, smart, reliable, all those words that you want to hear about an interior lineman. And he is an achiever, in whatever he sets his mind to. Yeah, I thought just gets in position again and again and walls him off and gets there. I just trust that he'll do that of, execute the assignment and be a steady player. Followed him through the season, and you never want to overrate a pro day, and especially for a lineman who doesn't have pads on and isn't hitting people, but he was in great shape. He ran really well, and it was him getting out on his pull path that you could just see, geez, when he is in our uniform, in our pads, doing that in our scheme, that's going to look great.
What's up, guys? Graham Barton, nice to meet you. Rob. Graham Barton, next to you guys. Come on over here, Graham, over here. Yep. Thanks. How you doing? Good. How are you, Mike Beal? Graham Barton, nice to meet you.
The question is, where do you want to play, or do you have a preference, or?
Yeah, I really don't have a preference. Like I know that sounds cliche, but I've played inside, I've played outside. I think I'm athletic. That's like who as I am as an offensive lineman. I'm first one off the ball. I get into good positions. And I think I can do that. With my hand in the ground, with a ball in my hand, or out of a 2-point stance at tackle. I just think, I'm able to kind of manipulate my movements the way I want it to. I have control over myself. And so I think I'm versatile.
Graham had a lot of schools trying to get him to transfer and were offering him a lot of money. They knew what type of player he was, and he never really considered it. He is a very, loyal, dedicated guy who truly cares about his teammates, and he believed in that program and that team and what they could accomplish. Those are the types of things that we value in the players that we want to add to our team.
Tell us a little bit about your leadership style.
Yeah, Fridays are, walkthrough days, no sweat, Fridays, just reviewing the game plan. But, Friday for me, I saw it as a day to make sure you were crisp, make sure your first 2 steps were perfect, make sure you're always in the right position, your hat was in the right place, hands in the right place. So I'd be in a full sweat on Fridays, and by the end of the season, you'd see 3 or 4 of the young guys in a full sweat on Friday. And I think that's kind of the way I led. People saw, the way I treated it and kind of followed that.
We're talking about reestablishing the run game. Graham gives you the flexibility to run the ball in a variety of ways, whether it's power, inside zone, outside zone.
Gonna keep it on the ground. Huge hole into the open field, 30, and it is over.
His athleticism coupled with his tenacity and his strength really gives you the ability to make him a weapon in the run game.
You know anything about our team?
Yeah, I know that you've got a pretty freaky tackle in Wirfs, and then the run you guys kind of made this year with Baker. I thought it was pretty cool.
We did too.
He is not someone that needs attention and needs praise. I think he holds himself to a high standard. Even though he's a very sharp, polished, mature person, he has this attitude towards the game that's just full of dedication.
They got Barton back, which is the real deal for that offensive line.
That was the case with Graham of, hey, wait a minute, like, you know, they're not just out there in every round at every level. This guy that we should have motivation for is right there for us, you know, in the first round.
Appreciate it, guys.
It's good to meet you, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Best of luck to you.
Thanks, guys. Yep. Appreciate it.
Great job. Enjoyed it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, enjoy the week.
Appreciate it, guys.
Man, coach is cooking out here, and we just at the beginning of it.
These are days to test the fortitude of your mental focus.
Yeah, the mental, yeah.
That's what it is.
How you beautiful people doing? I'm good.
Yeah. Yesterday, Rashad White said he thinks you were built in a lab. So can you confirm that you were not, in fact, built?
Nah, I wasn't built in a lab, but I just worked hard to get these guns. That's all it is.
You know, go back to 2 years ago, before that set of draft meetings, I think it was in December meetings, where spies started the meeting saying, at outside backer, we have to have a guy who'll put his face on you.
At outside backer, Yaya, I thought had a great year for a guy that, you know, slowly been building his career, like to make that jump. And he is a love-it guy. He is here all the time.
They lock the weight rooms on Sundays, so I can't get in there on Sundays. So that sucks. So I got to find other ways to get a pump in.
Ask the rookies, like, who's the best leader? Who's the guy that's here the most? Who's the most positive? Yaya. Like in spades over everybody else. I think Yaya has ascended maybe faster than I thought he would.
Hey man, let's have a good day, man. Let's fly around, man. Have fun, communicate. Oh, be on 3, 1, 2, 3.
I'm not surprised, given the kid and the makeup and the skills that he has in his body. But once we saw Yaya get a chance to start and have some success, have that game out in San Francisco, I think it really took off from there.
Who saw that coming? He's pressured here, and he's sacked by Diaby. Purdy to throw on second down. And Purdy sacked back at the 2. Yaya Diaby is there again. His second sack today.
Well, you can see why this young guy is getting an opportunity to play.
I think the big discussion with Yaya was the developmental piece, because he was so raw, a guy who played wide receiver in high school and then walks on at a junior college. And then when he gets to Louisville, he's, you know, they see the potential, but he's a very raw player.
I think Yaya's story is unique. You talk about a kid who was working at the Atlanta Hartsfield Airport and things like that, and then he gets a chance to go to a JUCO.
He was playing with his hand in the ground. We never really got to see him in the scheme that we play.
We're like, well, this guy has everything we look for in our outside backers, even though they were playing him more inside, almost at a defensive tackle position.
You kind of step back. This guy's 6'3.5", he's 265 pounds. He's running in the 4.5s. He made some splash plays for us in training camp and last offseason.
The thing about Yaya was just when you walk out there on the field, it's automatically like, hey, who is that guy? Getting a chance to watch him practice and see his ability to bend, the power, the pop that he had in his hands, that was the icing on the cake.
I'm just having fun, man. Going into year 2, when I hear plays, I'm not like how last year I was just, oh damn, what I'm doing. Now I know.
Levis taken down, fumble on the play. Diaby may have gotten him. He did, fumble.
He is very easy to root for. I'm just really happy for him that he's had success.
Yaya's talked openly about, I want to get a captain on my, what do I have to do? Not like in a political way, but like I want to earn that. I think we found one. We got to find another one. The one, not all you guys have seen this guy, but the one guy that we probably should have put in here was Braswell.
Where would you guys put him that have seen him?
Chris Braswell. Well, they had a bunch of great players on that Alabama defense, most notably Dallas Turner, who was a high pick, obviously.
He spends his whole career, he's a 5-star, he doesn't leave. Stuck behind Will Anderson and Dallas Turner, and then he finally gets a shot this year. He's got 8.5 sacks and 3 forced fumbles, and just shows up.
Chris was a little bit tough to do just because he was overshadowed by some of the players that they've had at that same position. The one thing that we really liked about Chris was that in the day and age of college football now and the transfer portal and the NIL stuff, he chose to stick around Alabama and compete his ass off. Like that's who the guy is.
He's like, hey, I think he said he talked about it with his family, and he just said I would never run away from competition. That's just not me. For him to transfer would feel like a failure. For the week, I thought he was good. Strong core and punches straight into him, knows what he is. Just good bull rushes, direct style. I think it's good to be talking about him right here in this group. I would take him over some of the guys above him because this is the type of rusher that we want to pack the room with. It was a different year for Alabama last year. They weren't just rolling the balls out and winning 40-14 every time. You know, they had to show some grit and win some close games, and Chris was a part of a lot of those, you know, with a sack fumble that was returned against Tennessee. And it's blocked. Block kick against Texas A&M that he took back and won that game.
And it's Chris Braswell.
A pick 6 versus Mississippi State. All these different ways to help his team win.
You talked about the Bama standard. What is that?
Yeah, so the Bama standard is just going out there, and on defense we have DOA mentality, like dead on arrival. So like, you know, just showing up to the ball, all 11 hats to the guy, running to the ball and attacking the ball.
I really liked him. I love the direct. I mean, every time I was looking for Dallas Turner, this guy was running through somebody's face and making plays and straining, and you know, I'm gonna wear you out, and when it matters in the fourth quarter, I'll still be here.
One of our jobs as pass rushers is just go out there and attack the quarterback. I mean, that's kind of what they pay us to do.
What we really liked about Chris is he had the get off and the quickness to beat you off the edge, but just having that change up and not just being a straight fastball guy.
Taken down! Chris Braswell with a sack for Alabama.
Looking at the other pass rushers, if you start to pull up pressures, Braswell I think he had the most pressures in the SEC last year, and the guy that was playing in a rotation, that says a lot.
Hello!
Going down to Mobile for the Senior Bowl too, which just felt different. It sounded different. And he kept coming. He was doing it over and over and over again. Comparing him to Yaya a little bit, those were guys that didn't play a whole lot early in their career and then saw a big jump their senior year.
And he plays the same way. He plays direct and right at you and works off a bull rush and chooses hard.
To me, this guy, like, you could steal in the third round and then wake up in October next year and be like, oh, we did it again. Because he's made of the right stuff, and he's got juice. I think there's something about this guy.
We're looking for the kind of guys that when it gets hard in the fourth quarter, you know, on a September day in Tampa, it's not a lot of fun out there, I don't think. I mean, it's hot, you've been beaten down, it's physical, and we're looking for guys that will stay in the fight. He's got some freaky stuff that he's done athletically, and I don't know if you've been on the Instagram page yet, where he's box jumping and doing crazy stuff for a man that's 263 pounds.
And I'm not trying to run this guy way up the board. This guy feels like a second rounder, to be honest with you. He's tailor-made for our defense.
You know, as a scout, there's so many players that you evaluate, but only very few that you would be willing to, quote unquote, jump on the table for. When scouts are jumping on the table for a player, you have to listen to them.
Jason Licht has the vision. He sees this thing from the bird's eye view.
The way that he empowers all of us to do our jobs. When you feel like you have a lot of value and you have a lot of power to do what you're supposed to do and you're not being watched all the time, it makes you only want to do your job better if you're the right kind of person.
I think human nature, we jump to conclusions a lot. We have blind spots in terms of our biases. And that's something that I think about a lot, is just trying to eliminate as much bias as I can.
It's super important for our scouts to be able to see players through different lenses, not just what they're actually playing currently, but forecasting what they can do.
Yeah, you have to kind of have a wide lens there. It's easier to say what he can't do, harder, more valuable to say, okay, where would he perform well? What would that look like?
As scouts, especially on the college side of it, that's what we're doing. We are projecting all these players, how they're going to transition from the college game to the NFL. So then when they're transitioning from a different position to another position, that just adds a whole other layer to it.
Whether it's, looking at Tykee Smith, he was a nickel at Georgia, and you see him make a tackle for loss on one play, and the next play he makes a PBU on third down against a receiver that ends up going in the first round in the Florida game. You go back to his West Virginia tape, and you see him playing almost a linebacker role, and you see him playing safety. So it's really fun to take different pieces and have an open mind, and not just look at a player and say, well, he's never done this, so he can't do it.
How you doing, all right?
I'm doing good. Can't complain.
Philly, huh?
Yes, sir.
Started my career in Philly. Where'd you grow up?
I'm from West Philadelphia.
Tykee didn't play a lot in 2022. Not his fault, similar to Chris Braswell. And here's a kid that starts at West Virginia, has a lot of success. He transfers because he wants a chance to play at the highest level.
When you were in the portal, because you've gone a lot of places,
Yeah.
see a lot of opportunities.
Yes, sir.
What brought you to Georgia?
I felt like I got on the Zoom with them, and they just showed me different ways they used their star position, their nickel position, and being able to show different versatility. And I felt like they was one of the best teams returning a lot of time that year, so I wanted to be around that and go compete against that every day.
Happy with that decision?
No, for sure. Definitely happy with that decision. I think I had a good football IQ by learning the game of football from Coach Martin's perspective and able to talk football better from what they teach you at there. So they're not like the system that they ran.
A lot of the stuff that we asked our nickels to do was really easy to see Tykee doing that. Perimeter screens, making tackles for loss, blitzing. He's just a really good football player. And I think the hesitation throughout the fall was, is he fast enough? I remember Mike saying, I think he's fast enough.
I actually think he runs okay. I mean, you see it sometimes, and I don't know if it's in time, but I thought there was times on tape where you saw him carrying guys.
Not quite sure how fast he's going to be. Can he hold up playing nickel in our defense on third down? He goes to the combine and he breaks 4.5, and everyone was like, oh, okay.
Tykee Smith of Georgia's first run. It's a 4.48.
Coming to the combine and putting a good 40 time up there made us feel better that he could really do those things, and seeing more at the Senior Bowl, and he kind of just checked those boxes.
So right here we in something we call, so the corner gonna track the flat. I'm biting one. We gonna show man. Javon Bullock gonna bite two. The linebacker we call it show. So show blitz. The linebacker got three. I saw my man wasn't really running a route and then turned back and.
It's just called.
Yeah, it's called.
I can tell at this point in my career when kids try to learn a couple coverages and walk into an interview room and fool us. Tykee, he's gonna start asking me questions I'm not gonna know the answers to. He was that good at it.
Right here again, we in like a quarters. So with that fast three, that bow motion being a fast three, I'm trying to get leverage on two to be able to like split the zone and play top down. So we in like quarters behind it.
But it never felt like an arrogance or a cockiness. It just felt like, I know my I'm really good at it. You want to talk ball? I can talk ball all day.
So right here, we playing like a form of, but to the boundary, we call this. So to the boundary is man to man, and up into the field is. So you see Javon, I had to go to the passing strength. And since it's into the boundary to start, we blitzing, and Javon had to run with his man back to the field because he was in man-to-man. So, but he ran into the side, so he able to backtrack it with the corner trapping the flat to the field.
Big third down and 7. Blitz comes. Everybody comes. Down he goes. Tykee Smith.
Sure you don't want to be the nickel and do this?
I can do that too if needed.
We're going to need him to do that too, aren't we, Coach? You got any questions for us?
What would y'all be looking for in a DB?
Go ahead, Coach.
Nickel, safety, corner, can do it all. But no, we look at you, I see you close to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
The more you can do, I think playing both of them gave you, got you some good experience.
Right.
Should help you on this next level. But
sure.
The more you can do, but we need that physicality. So that bloody Tuesday, we need that Wednesday. Just transfer it to Wednesday. Definitely bring it on Sunday, but.
So you know about Bloody Tuesdays?
Nah, man. When you mentioned it, I kind of got an idea.
Just go watch the Georgia Bloody Tuesday. Sometimes I think they was one us the game half of the time because we out there trying to go against each other. Like, we ain't on teams, so that kind of made the game easier on Saturday.
There's a saying I heard the other day that I kind of like, and it definitely pertains to the NFL, that adversity's here, it just left, or it's on its way. So it's going to hit everyone in different areas. And I think the guys that kind of have been through more of those battle tested early on, they're not going to blink when those moments hit.
I just like that, we have culture. We want to be, you put sayings all over the building and all that, and wear shirts, but like, who we bring in? No, but I'm not. But I'm just saying, who we bring in backs that up. If we don't bring in players that back that up, those are meaningless, right? Like those guys carry what we're trying to be. So if we bring in, we say we're going to be this. We bring in some guy who don't want to put his face in the fan and about me and all that, and we bring this motherfucker. Oh, they're right. That's what they're. Players know. Like you can't fool the players. They're all going to sit in the room, in the locker room, and they're going to know.
Can't go wrong with the right kind of guy. Just can't.
Right.
The amount of money I pay to have a magic button where you press it and they light up, the ones that are going to be good.
The Matrix.
Oh, yeah.
You pay a lot of money because you make a lot of money.
All right, Detroit. Come on. Okay. You ready to get the show on the road? Okay, the 2024 NFL Draft is now underway.
This is Christmas. This is an unbelievable atmosphere, and then we might have a draft that becomes a cornerstone draft. We might be looking back in 10 years and saying to ourselves, the entire league was shaped that night.
I had an idea after going through the first wave of meetings with my scouts that this was going to be a chance this year to strike at positions of need, which were going to help us ultimately for this year.
Green Bay has submitted its pick. Tampa Bay is now on the clock.
Yes, they did. Jordan Morgan. What did they take? Jordan Morgan.
Jordan Morgan.
Wow.
All right.
Ultimately, when we make a decision in the draft, that decision is made by Jason. And we, as a staff, have to do everything we can to support him in that.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Right there.
Never down, never down.
Once those decisions are made, once we draft a player, they're Bucs, and everything that we did to get them here is in the past, and we're moving forward, and they're ours now. They're part of our team.
Graham.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well. Hey, this is Jason Licht, GM in Tampa. How you doing?
I'm good.
Well, we're doing great because we're about to make you a Buck.
Oh man, thank you.
We've got some good offensive line here, and you're just going to add to it, and
We're going to be great. That's the goal.
Let's
all
do
right?
it. I'm ready to work.
With the 26th pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Graham Barton, center Duke.
Ultimately, him at center with that brain and movement is the right position for him.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Braswell.
Tykee Smith.
Hello? Hey, Jalen, we are about to make you a Buck.
Oh, Bucky Irving.
We're going to be here. We're going to be ready. Devin Cole, tight end, Washington.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Elijah Klein. Go Bucs!
Great job, guys. Guys, go in. Watch the highlights and all that. Okay.
Good job, boss.
I can feel the room after a draft, whether or not we have something that could be special. We felt it after the 2023 draft. We had the same feeling after this year's draft.
Because we got high character guys that love football, are extremely competitive, extremely tough. Drafted a left tackle at Duke, and then you take a rusher from Bama, a DB from Georgia, a wide receiver from Washington. Go to Oregon in the 4th round with Bucky, add Devin Culp in the last round. You got a lot of really big-time players that have been in big-time games.
I cannot say enough good things about our scouting staff. They have taken what we've kind of come up with here, our motto, and they've run with it.
I love this job because I love being a part of a team. Just the human element of it is something I really value. But all guys we thought would really help us.
It's a sense of pride, but it's more so a sense of organizational pride because of those guys.
Like the tough, like the competitive nature, thought he played with effort.
You never get the carrot, right? You just got to stay motivated and kind of stay at it.
We saw value on all 3 downs. He's a good player. He's well-rounded. He's good in the pass game.
There's more players next year, and it's never any process. You're never done.
It's kind of what keeps you going through a long fall when you're out there turning out our game on Sunday, and he's one of the reasons we're winning that game. Some guy that you recommended. It's pretty fulfilling, yeah.
When you talk about I am that man, and you talked about the 5 words that we came up with to try to encapsulate it, I think that's about the players we're trying to draft, but I think it's, as an extension, the kind of people that we want on the football side in general.
They are really the lifeblood of the organization. We say that all the time.
When you get a group of guys like I think we've gotten here and you just really feel proud of your team, hey, we're pretty lucky to be here, doing the job that we do.
Third day now of the draft is probably my favorite day of the year besides Sundays in the fall.
Undrafted free agency is a free-for-all. It's like being on the New York Stock Exchange.
Hey, how are you? Hey, Lindsay, it's Shane Scannell with the Bucs. How are you?
What's up, man? Listen, all right, it's every man for every man. Right now, it's like I'm worried about my safety because I'm going in there bargaining and getting money from other positions. You know what I'm saying? So now people looking at me sideways. Can we get this done for 21.5?
I would kind of compare it to college recruiting a little bit.
He's high on our list, right? We're interested. Based on the market you have now, what's an offer that makes you serious?
Whether it's weeks or months, we do that in like a 30-minute interval.
And this is a guy that I think, at least has a chance to be on our practice squad.
It's chaotic. 10-ish scouts calling all these different position groups, working with our position coaches.
The game is changing to your style of play anyway. You know what I'm saying? Being able to play in space, which you definitely can do.
Trying to match up our needs, using a finite amount of signing bonus money that we have.
Well, the $10,000 is a signing bonus, so that's obviously up front.
Yeah, we can get it done at 150.
You're getting down where, maybe not all the bosses know who these guys are, and it's really coming relying on the scout who went in there. So that's really how you kind of go get your guy.
No, I know. Yeah, for sure. There's love. There's a lot of love from IRF coaches, everybody, me. I mean, I think it's like a hand in glove type fit. So,
it's funny. There's a Pro Bowler up here somewhere, and we don't know who it is, and no one knows who it is.
All right.
You don't know who's going to make an impact, but you know someone that you're signing is going to make that team, is going to make our team, is going to have an impact play.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
We've had some success around here. I mean, especially the last couple of years, we've had a lot of players make our roster that were undrafted and key contributors too.
And I think we might have led the league in undrafted free agents that made the team. So,
my favorite part of that process is beating another team to a good player. We had Antoine Murray on the phone with a player that we coveted.
Hey, Chris, how you doing, man? I got Coach Todd Bowles on the line for you.
He had to get Coach Bowles involved. Coach Bowles sold him.
I don't call many people, I only call people I know that I really want here, and we act upon what we say, and we'd love to have you if you're available. I know you got options, but there is a space for you if you ever looked at us and saw us play and see how we use our DBs.
We had a plan, and we had guys that we targeted, and for the greater good of the group, we were able to close on a guy that the group really wanted.
Hello? What's up, man? We got good news?
Let's go.
Yeah!
Lock it in. All right, sweet, he's in.
Yes? Is that what it is? Okay. Turn all phones off, all right? We locked in. If I need to come to South Florida to get him tonight, I will.
Yes, sir. I'll send it to you right now.
It was just as exciting as making a draft selection.